It is craft fair day again. This is 2 of 7 in a row, right? That's what we're on, 2 of 7?
Weekend 2 of 7.
2 of 7. Technically it's 2 of 6, right? Because we've got 2. I'm calling it 2 of 7, but there's 2 in the same weekend, so that's why it's 7. Though the last one, I think there's 1 weekend in a row, and then I've got 1 more. So I guess technically it's 2 of 8. Oh, Jesus Christ. Lord help. This show is a 4-day show, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 4 days. We get to set up the day before, so today is Wednesday. We get to go set up. I have not done this show before, so I have no idea what we're walking into. It's supposed to be a huge, huge show. I'm so excited. Weather's looking iffy, but it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great weekend. It's gonna be a huge, huge festival. So excited. Projected to be a ton of people there. I finished this guy in the car on our way down. We're about 2 hours away. Show, it's gonna be really long days. Ben took off of work to come and help me. It's running 10 to 8 every day and then 10 to 6 on Sunday. What else can I tell you about this show? Oh, there's Michael's. There's the Michael's. Oh, that's good to know. That's 12 minutes away from where we are. That's perfect. Well, that's so good to know. That's perfect.
Yeah, I think the Walmart is like right over here.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh yeah, look at that. There's Walmart. Perfect. They're in the same parking lot.
Yeah, because this is right near the other one we did down here.
Oh, by Taco Fest? Oh, cool.
That's the Walmart we went to.
Oh, look, and there's a billboard for the show that we're doing. Oh, that's awesome. How fun. Because this show is so far away, I did also pay for a hotel for 4 days. So I'm also kind of excited because we're going to treat this like a little vacation as well. A little work vacation. Right?
Indubitably.
Work vacation. And if the weather could stay like the way that it is right now for the next 4 days, it would be glorious. I don't know what setup's going to be like, but we're allowed to set up from like 8:30 this morning until 8 o'clock tonight. So we've got so much time for setup. I don't know if I'm going to be able to record it or not. I don't know what we're walking into here. I have no idea. No idea what we're walking into. But I'm very excited. We have 10 feet by 11 and a half feet, so it's a little bit more than a 10 by 10. We're in their tent, so we didn't need our tent, which is awesome. We brought it just in case.
He's like going out there?
Okay, so the show is right on the water. We're gonna be in one of those tents right over there. It's so pretty. We're right on the water, and there's a giant Ferris wheel. Look at those. Ah! Okay, this is so cool. Okay, guys, I am so excited. This is gonna be fantastic. They're actually very clean.
I would hope so.
Yeah. So this whole spot right here, this is my spot. So we just went to Walmart. We got sheets, fitted sheets, and some fabric. I got the sign, my crocheted sign up. We have everything all ready to go for tomorrow. We're gonna put all the plushies out tomorrow. I didn't want to do it tonight. We're getting real tired. The lights, guys, these lights are so bright. It looks so good.
I'll turn the lights
Turn them
off.
off.
So you can see what it's like without them.
Ugh. It's amazing. And we're right on the water. I can't even get over this. Literally, we're right. The beach is right there. Can you see the beach? Beach is right there. Tomorrow's gonna be such a good day. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Cannot wait for tomorrow. So we're gonna get here super early. We're gonna set everything up. I'm exhausted. We're gonna get dinner and yeah, that was the day. That's the day. We're gonna put up a tarp overnight in front of everybody has tarps to close up their booths. So we're gonna do the same thing. We went and bought a tarp.
Then I'm gonna close off this wall that they have here.
It's a good idea. Here we are all set up. We set everything up. We're so official. I have to have a lanyard and everything with the event information on it. So that's kind of cool. It's day one. We got here at about, what time we get here? 8 o'clock to set everything up? About 8:15. We set up all the plushies and the ear warmers and everything because it is going to get cold at night. We are on the water. Literally, the beach is right there. So I'm very happy. Ben, look up. This is what we are looking like. I hung the snakes from the bar today because we were kind of like short space on grid wall. It's just kind of like the way that it all worked out today. So this is my round spinner. I put crabs in it instead of frogs the way that I normally do, just because we're in Maryland and Maryland people are crazy about their crabs. So I wanted the crabs out front because Maryland, oh my, we have a stage right behind us. So we have the crabs everywhere here. And I put the frogs on the small spinner today. I did not put out bats, hedgehogs, and the lions on the spinner like I have been. We're just gonna try some new things today. Benjamin, say hello.
Hello.
And then this is the grid wall side. Again, we're just kind of like cramped for space on the grid wall today because we had to hang some of the jellyfish from the grid wall. I hang them from metal hooks on the tent, but I don't have my tent, so I couldn't put the hooks, the magnetic hooks that I normally use. And then we have all the ear warmers here. This is kind of backlit right now, so it's kind of hard to see what's over here, but we have all of our lights ready to go for nighttime when it gets dark. And we're gonna go from 10 to 8 today. I'm literally so excited about this event. It's huge. So we're on the end. It's a whole walkthrough situation happening. I'll be back.
All right,
love you. Whole walk through the tent. I think there's like 20 vendors in each tent. I hope I get to see everything while I'm here. Like there's so much happening. I don't know if I'm even gonna get to see everything while I'm here. All right, well, we decided to change everything at the last minute. And during the show, we literally changed everything to be an L. So this is actually gonna work a lot better for us at this show because so many people are just walk-by tables. All right, so we are going into day 2 of 4 of this market. Yesterday was great. We had a good day yesterday. We did about $680 in sales, which is awesome because we're almost at our market fee for the whole show, which is fantastic for a Thursday. At the end of the day yesterday, we did move everything around. So now we're kind of in an L setup instead of a U walk-in. And what I'm noticing and why we did that was I was having a really hard time getting people in. So people were kind of stopping at the spinner. They were looking, but actually getting people to come into the U to shop was hard. It was a really tough commitment to get people to come in, and most of the other vendors were set up as just like a single table in the front or a walk-through, like a walk-by instead. So we set ourselves up that way. So you kind of have to read the event and see what the people want and how people are shopping. And the second that we changed it and we switched it up, I had a lot more people stopping and looking and buying. So I think that's going to change things for today. I sold a lot of bigger items yesterday. I sold my giant sea turtle, which was awesome. It was a good day yesterday. For a Thursday, I'll take it. I'm really, really happy with those numbers for a Thursday. What do you think?
Yeah, yesterday was good.
Yesterday was a good day.
It was weird how it like died off almost at like 4.
Yeah, it died at 4. I thought it was going to pick up at 4 because people get out of work.
Right. Which is why I was surprised that it like died off. I think from 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock, I think we had a total of like 5 sales.
Yep.
And
there was
2 or 3 of those 5 sales all happened in the last hour and a half after we switched our setup.
Yep. Yep. But there was a lot less people there at the back end of the day
Yes.
than at the front end of the day.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that all the free concerts were done by that point.
Yeah.
So then...
And I think that's what it's going to be every day.
I agree.
Which might be why that lady was like, oh, every day around 7 it dies. It's like...
Well,
She also had terrible lighting.
well, but by the time we left, everybody was in the concert. By 7 o'clock, everybody was in the paid concert who was there.
Yeah.
So the people... It's not gonna stay. I signed a contract saying that I would stay open until 8 o'clock. It is not 8 o'clock and we are the only booth still open in this entire tent. Is it cold as shit? Yeah, it's cold as shit. But you stay open and you do your damn job. You signed a contract. Good morning. It is day 3 of 4 of this craft show. Ben just ran into Wawa to grab himself some Monster because we are both exhausted. I stayed up late last night to finish off some crabs. They just needed their eyes sewn on. So I got that done last night. We're heading into this thing. Yesterday was a fantastic day. Changing the setup changed everything. It helped so much. Hello, husband.
Hello, people. I am husband.
As you are. We went to Walmart last night. It's supposed to be freezing today. I grabbed another sweatshirt.
No, I grabbed another sweatshirt. She's just wearing it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sweatshirt for him. It's like an extra large sweatshirt so I can put it over my Sherpa. It's gonna be cold today. Hopefully the rain holds out. I'm hoping it doesn't rain tomorrow and that the show gets completely canceled tomorrow because there's a potential of that happening. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But yesterday we had a fantastic day. I'm hoping today is just as good. Again, it's really cold, so we did sell a bunch of ear warmers yesterday, which was, again, great. I'm really glad we brought them. I'm hoping today's gonna be just as good. I'm hoping we're gonna have a great day today. Again, I finished the crabs. They're in the back. Yeah. It is windy and cold as all hell. I have on 3 pairs of pants, 3 sweatshirts. My eyes keep tearing to the wind. I've got makeup all over my face, but we are all set up. The show is going. It's going pretty good. We look pretty good too. We've been selling a crap ton of ear warmers, which is awesome. You look like a dad in that jacket. That jacket needs to get returned. We gotta get rid of that jacket. That jacket needs to get burned. You're gonna burn that jacket. I tried putting a sale sign down here to try to get rid of some of this stuff down here. It has not worked yet. I keep restocking stuff. We've been restocking like crazy. But we're doing good. I'm out of all of my best-selling colored ear warmers. So apart from the black sparkle, we haven't sold a single one of those yet. This is not the sparkle crowd, but that's okay. And I keep having to put a tarp out today because it's been raining a little bit, but we're doing. So this is what we ended up having to do for right now. We this whole area was getting soaked by the rain with the way that the wind was blowing, so we had to put up a tarp and block off this area for right now. With the way the wind was blowing, I mean, you can see where the water was just pooling and it was just like pouring in here. The table's on kind of a slant right now, just again because of the way the wind was. I pulled the one spinner in, pulled the ear warmer spinner in. This last hour has been dead every single day regardless, so I kind of just pulled everything in. I'm not supposed to be out this far with the ear warmer spinner, but I really have no other choice right now. Everything's gonna get soaked if I don't. So we're doing the best that we can here right now. Again, everything's getting wet with the rain. But this is the situation right now. We've got less than an hour left. Bands are playing right now. That's pretty cool. Everclear's playing, so that's pretty cool. But again, like there's no one even walking through shopping, so I'm not gonna pack up early, but we might pull stuff back even further and just at 8 o'clock on the dot tarp it up. Right, Ben? Right, Ben?
Yeah. What she said. I don't know what it was, but what she said.
I said we're returning that jacket because it's so bad.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely buying a different one. Not this one. Probably one in different colors.
That's not what I said at all.
Oh.
We also had to take down the banner on the back wall because the wind was so bad. It was just blowing everywhere. It's just been nuts. I mean, you can see the wind blowing everything everywhere. We're having a tough day today. Guys, it's our last day. It is day 4. It is a gorgeous day here. It has been predicted all week that today was going to be disgusting, and it's gorgeous. Look at this view. Look at it. Just look at it. Oh my God, it's such a nice day out. I can't even. The sun is shining. The seagulls are squawking. I am sleepy and so cold today. Hello.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Your work is beautiful.
Thank you so much. I just called a frog a crab. That just goes to prove that I'm sleeping today, because that normally doesn't happen. I just have not had enough caffeine yet. I have not been crocheting. I've been standing and not sitting, but my ankles are starting to kill me. So we are sitting for right now until we start getting busy. It's been a really slow morning, but it's Sunday, so like everybody's at church, so that's normal. So having this giant sale sign has not helped me move any of this stuff, so that's okay. I moved the seahorses up from there to there for this event, and then immediately they started selling, which is where I normally have my frogs. So we have not been selling as many frogs at this event, but that's totally fine. Sea turtles have been moving like crazy pants, and pretty much everything on this spinner has been moving. The pigs, again, I moved the pigs back up. Pigs have been selling. Frogs have not been selling as much on the small spinner as opposed to the big spinner, but again, totally fine with that. Turtles have been moving like crazy too. Crazy pants. You guys, that sky looks so angry. Can it hold out for like another few hours? It looks so angry. We are getting all packed out. Some people are already like almost gone, which is crazy, but we're getting packed. And that's it. We're done. It started to rain again, so we packed up real quick. 4-day show. Done. Car packed. Driving home. We did it. Sorry that pack out was so quick. It started to pour out of nowhere, and we were just trying to get out of there as quick as we possibly could. Make sure you stay to the end. We have some crazy stories that happened while we were at this event. The story of these 3 ladies will set your teeth on edge. At least it set mine on edge.
And some of the children there were interesting.
Anyway, so this event was awesome.
Yeah, it was not our best event to date.
No.
But it was definitely close, and it has the potential to be our best event next year.
I think had we switched from the U to the L in the beginning of the day, or started out that way, it would have been our best event. Once we switched to the L, so what I mean by an L, we had spinner, table, spinner, table. So you could walk around. And the only reason we could do that was because we were on a corner. And that just happened to be by luck. But that meant that people could walk all the way around and shop on two sides of us instead of just the one side in the front. Now, a lot of people had their tables set up that way. They only had the one table in the front. So people were just walking and shopping on the one side, and they'd go down the other side of the big tents. So we had to set up that way. Getting people to commit and come inside of a U of a 10 by 10 was not happening. They just weren't doing it. They weren't coming inside. And
They would stop and look at the spinner real quick, and then they'd keep walking. And I mean, you guys have seen the video. We had tons of stuff inside, but no one bothered to come in because they didn't want to make that mental commitment to come inside.
It's a big commitment. I think especially in this economy, it is a commitment where I noticed after we did that, we had a lot of people who would start to walk by, not see something they wanted, then something would catch their eye and they'd stop and then they'd come back.
Yep.
And there was a lot more of that once we switched to just the front facing setup on both sides. And then once something caught their eye, then they would go and they would trek around to the other side and they would check every single thing out.
Right.
But it took something catching their eye, not just a spinner. It needed to be something else. So that was great. And I think had we done that on Thursday, because I think Thursday was probably one of the busiest days. Because the weather was better on Thursday.
I think Friday was our busiest day.
Saturday was the busiest day. Numbers-wise.
No, I'm talking people-wise.
I think Thursday was the busiest day.
All right. Regardless, we should have switched to the L sooner. And if we do this, we will be doing this event again. Unless, something crazy happens. But we will absolutely be requesting a corner like we had this time. And we will be doing the L setup or just a front-facing table.
Yep. And I wouldn't be surprised if next time they'll put us on the other side because there was one of the corners who walked by who loved what we did.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't utilize the corner space in a good way.
Right. They'll just put up a tarp or they'll pull the wall of the tent up and block off their stuff, and the coordinator saw our stuff and they were like, oh my gosh, we love what you did with this side, nobody does that, blah blah blah. Like there was 8 of those big tents that we were in, I think. So each of those 8 tents has 4 of those vendors, so you're looking at 24 vendors that had corner spots, and it was only us and one other vendor that did that out of the whole event, I think.
No, there were a few of like those big outdoor.
Well, the outdoor ones. I'm saying like the ones that were in those big tents.
No, in the big tents, there were some that had like some outdoorsy things on the outside of the tents. There were a few. There were a few people who used the outdoor space, but then they would go way outside of their space, and then they were getting in trouble for doing that. We were
staying within our space, but making it so people could shop from the outside. What Sarah's saying is there were some people that just like they had lawn ornaments or like windmill things that you would stick in the ground. They would put them outside their booth, outside the tent, so that people would see them.
Beyond their 10 by 10 space on that side, trying to do kind of what I did, but it went beyond the bounds of their space, and the coordinators were not happy about that. So I am a very big rule follower, especially with events. I always try to stay within my little box, my little space, my 10 by 10. I will sometimes try to push it on the corners with my spinners.
Yeah, like 6 inches.
6 inches.
Like, not a lot.
Not far, but just because the spinners are just hard, and that way I can get around them.
Yeah.
Mainly for safety for my neighbor and for myself, so we can get in and out of the tent safely. God forbid there's an emergency.
Right.
So that's the only thing I really try to push it with. But this, I was fully with the tables were in my tent. We had to get risers for the tables because there was that plank.
Railing. Yeah, there was a railing on one side.
The railing. But other than that, we just lifted the table and the grid wall. It worked, and people could still shop from outside of my 10 by 10 space, right. But nothing was outside of bounds of to be in the way or a tripping hazard or anything other than the strips of the actual tent.
Oh yeah, the tie downs for the tent.
Thank you.
Did you? Yeah.
Other than the.
So,
but people, they weren't like in the way. People, a full person could still fit in there, and a stroller could fit within the tie downs of the
tent. Yeah. So along those lines, we mentioned in the videos that people were packing up really early. On one day in particular, we were the only ones open, and it was still at least a half hour till the fair was closed. We always try to do our best to follow these contracts. We've said in previous videos, we've had contracts that are like 13, 16 pages long. Those those contracts are that long for liability reasons, that it covers the event and it covers us. When you're breaking those rules in those contracts, like closing early, that makes it so that there's no one watching your booth. And if someone goes in and falls or knocks something over, or something falls because of the wind and you were supposed to be there, then you're liable for that. And your insurance company's not going to cover what happened because you were supposed to be there and you weren't. We've also seen people get blacklisted from events for doing like minor things that were in the contract that we all signed, but there was literally someone left a half hour early from an event that we were at, and the coordinator walked by later, and she came up to us like, "Oh, where did so-and-so go?" And we're like, "We don't know." And she's like, "Well, that's the last time she's doing one of our events." It's that quick.
It happens. The only time I will pack up early in the rain is if we have permission to do so.
Yeah.
You have tent walls for a reason. Put your tent walls up and you wait it out. The one day it was pouring and it was horrible. I felt so bad. I had to have some of my stuff kind of like pulling in the middle of the walkway.
Yeah.
Kind of like I wasn't supposed to be in the middle, but there was no other way other than to protect my product. And all the other vendors were like, they're not going to give you shit because your stuff's going to get ruined otherwise.
Right.
And they don't want that either. But that was the only reason. But I still stayed open the entire time. There were other vendors who were dealing with rain issues the same way. They just shut down and left.
Yep.
Put up a tarp and left. And another thing that was with this event in particular, you have to think about if when you're leaving your stuff overnight in a situation event the way this is, about the rain and how the elements can affect your product and how you're going to leave them. We made sure that all of my understock and my backstock, it was raised overnight. It was either on the table or it was stacked, or we had plastic totes that we put underneath. I've had inventory ruined. I lost $1,000 worth of inventory at an event that I had it in a plastic tote. There was so much water, like it was a river running through my tent overnight. That river knocked over the plastic tote. All of the water got into that tote because it knocked it over and the lid popped off. All the water pooled into that whole box of mushrooms and that box was gone. It was gone.
So
all
now,
the colors bled, everything. So I won't put stuff in totes anymore.
Yeah, so now we've got these water-resistant bags that we keep all of our stuff in all the time. And then for events, we have these plastic totes that they're like the underbed shoe ones. So they're only like 5 to 6 inches tall, and we'll put the lid on those, and then we'll put the water-resistant bags on top of them. And they'll be stacked up so like there's a decent amount of weight on top of it, so that if you get like a puddle in your tent overnight, your stuff's not soaking wet.
Because something I was warned about with this event is that water will puddle and pool in different areas. Like bring a broom so you can try to sweep the water out, and my stuff can't really get wet. So we were like trying to move everything so that way the way the wind was blowing, the water wouldn't be around. But I wasn't worried about the rain overnight because we put the bags either on the tables or on the plastic totes, and we were fine.
Yeah, or on top of chairs, and I think we brought an extra bookcase too,
right?
Like one of the collapsible ones that we have, so we could put a bunch of bags on top of that. Like we made sure that we had zero product on the floor, and we made sure that all of our tablecloths were folded up onto the tables before we packed up, so that if it did get water on the ground, the tablecloths wouldn't soak it up to the table.
Because that is something that will happen. Your tablecloths will absorb water and it'll soak up and wet your product on the table.
Yep.
So just that's something a lot of people don't take into consideration, I think. And I've heard horror stories of other friends that have had their stuff get ruined overnight. And I've had it. It's happened to me. It's going to happen. It's a part of being in business. Things are going to get ruined. It happens. I lost some product at another event. It fell on the floor and got dropped in mud. Things happen. Yeah. But that is one way that I know that I'm going to be okay.
Right.
Overnight.
Yep.
Leaving my product overnight and not having to pack the car every night, because that's a freaking headache. Another thing that was really important at this event was lighting.
Yeah, so the event went until 8 p.m. each day, and it was still like mid-spring. Well, it is still mid-spring, and the sun would go down. So as soon as the sun would start to set, it would get significantly darker, especially inside these giant tents. And we were one of only a few vendors there that had any sort of like real lighting, even though the event supplied us electrical outlets that we could use.
They had electricity, and it was free to use the electricity. Yeah. I've done a bunch of events where it's an extra $100, $200, $300 to use electricity. This event, the electricity was free. Yeah. It cost us nothing to have the electric. Bring your lights.
Yeah.
Our shop lights, what? The 6 lights were $20 on Amazon?
I think they were like 30, but even still, it's like
something.
A negligible amount. And we got 6 of these 3-foot long LED lights that are super bright. We use them with our jackery. We use them at events all the time. And anytime we bust these lights out at an event, we are almost always
we used to always
be the brightest tent. But after this event, there were these 2 stained glass vendors, and their stuff was absolutely gorgeous. Their lighting blew ours out of the freaking water. It was so bright. They had it so that the lights were purposely shining through the stained glass and making this stuff just really freaking pop.
There was this one, like, she had like these stained glass jellyfish that was like blown glass and then glass. Gorgeous. The lighting makes such a huge difference. Their stuff was so bright. Even during the day, they had these lights just blasting, and it made such a huge difference. Don't underestimate what your lighting can actually do for your products.
We've been at so many markets, especially outdoor night markets, where we're the only ones with real lights. Like, people have like flashlights or like little camp lanterns, which we used to do too. But we put these lights up, and we'll have like a dozen people at or around our tent, and all the other tents will have like 1 or 2 people max.
Just because we have the light.
Right.
It's like a beacon. It really...
The beacon is lit. You know?
It makes a difference.
Draws people in.
I felt like our neighbor next to us, she kept asking us which lights we used, because you even mentioned earlier in the video her lighting was terrible, and it was. She had these little clip lights that she was clipping to like the different things, and she's done this event so many years, but she had these little clips, and she goes, "Oh, what are those?" Because they were so easy to just put up. And
they are, and they come with like little clips. They're designed for under cabinet lights, like permanent lights. But we just use bungee cords or zip ties. Actually, at this event, they allowed us to drill into the wooden beams at the top. So for some of the lights, I actually used the installation clips and the little screws. But for most of them, just some bungee cords and some zip ties. And then when you're done with the lights, you just unclip it and you're done.
This event was so great.
It was so good.
They made it such a big deal that like the vendor parking lot might get full and you'd have to go find parking. There were spots in the vendor parking lot every day.
Yep. There was one day that I accidentally parked in an area where I wasn't supposed to park within the vendor parking lot. And they called us like 3 hours before the event was done. They were like, "Hey, is this your car parked in this place?" And we were like, yeah, it is. What's up? And they're like, "It's parked in the wrong spot." And we're like, "Oh my gosh, we'll
so
come
sorry,
and move it immediately."
Right now. Sorry.
There was no sign. And they're like, no, we know there was no sign. You're fine to leave it there. Just tomorrow and for the rest of the event, please just park over in this spot area instead. And we're like, absolutely. Like, we're not trying to cause any issues.
So sorry.
Like, are you sure you don't want me to come? I will come down right now. There was no sign, and I was amazed that there was a spot available there. I'll move it right now. And they're like, no, you're fine.
This event, it was so easy. The coordinators were so on top of everything. It was so great. I had a vendor friend who had people set up in her spot, and
they worked and they moved her to a different spot, which was way better.
It was a better
spot that she originally had.
It was a better spot for her, but even the coordinator's like, "I only have a contract from you, so this is your spot as far as I'm concerned." So they were so like God bless this coordinator. They are so fantastic. I would love to work with them over and over and over again. They were so great.
Anytime you have a chance to meet a coordinator for any of the events that you're doing, do your absolute best to be polite, professional, and understanding with these people. Because guess what? They are people. People make mistakes. you know? But these people have some sway over your business.
Yep.
They are not a customer where if you tell them to F off because they're pissing you off and you're never going to see them again. Like, these are the people who control who does and does not get into these events. You should do everything you can to help them out.
I mean, it was an unfortunate situation my friend was in, and she was like, we're good. They worked this coordinator worked so hard to just find another spot that would work for my friend, and the spot worked so much better for her in the end. Everything all worked out, and we got to meet the coordinator, and now she knows us, and she was so lovely. Yeah. She was so lovely. So,
like, this event probably had close to 200 vendors at it.
Oh, easy.
Yeah. So
easy. And it was so funny too, because the outdoor, like, they had standalone people too, and the coordinator's like, well, she wants to go outside. I can give her a spot out there if she's going to pay the up fee for it, because those tents were like triple what we paid to be inside the big tents. Yeah. I was dying. I was like, oh, okay.
And those small tents, I don't think got provided power.
They didn't have power. A lot of them had to shut down with the rain. Like, It was windy and crazy. Those tents were getting blown around. I would not have wanted to be in one of those standalone. Like, if we had brought our own tent with some of the wind.
There was one guy that didn't even open on the last day.
Mm-mm.
He left all his product there, and he didn't have walls up around his tent.
He
was selling like salsa or something.
But anybody
like that.
could have just taken his stuff. It was just
out
there. He was just
sitting on the table. All he did was he just unextended the tent legs. So it's like when you first pull out your easy up before you extend the tent legs, like he just left it like that. And I was like, all your stuff is right there. Like, you've got 400 jars of salsa sitting on your tables, and like people are walking around.
Weird. But a lot of those standalone tents were having a lot of issues.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the wind. The weather was terrible.
Yep.
I felt so bad. The weather was so bad, it just goes to show that in April, you bring your hats and ear warmers.
Always bring your hats
Always
and ear
bring
warmers.
them.
April and October. So anything from October to April.
I mean, I'd even say September.
Oh yeah, definitely. September, we had a market or two last September where we brought them.
I even start bringing them almost at like the end of August, because some days in August sometimes can get cold.
Yeah.
Best seller this weekend?
Ear warmers.
Ear warmers.
By far.
By far. I sold out of all of my best sellers, and I didn't even make them. I was just like, we'll just throw them in the car. If they sell, great. If they don't, whatever. And he's like, we got space for them, whatever. And you used to give me crap about bringing them, but
I used to give you crap because I hated setting up the spinner for it.
I think we sold like 35 ear warmers this weekend. It was more than that. Mm-hmm. Okay, we sold a lot of ear warmers because we had them. It was cold, and people needed to keep their ears warm. But now for stories, because that leads us right into stories.
Yeah. So we had this one woman walk up to us, and she was wearing this nice little beanie. It was black with silver lettering and had a paw print on it, and it said Dog Mom. And she walked up and she saw our ear warmers. She's like, how much are the ear warmers? We told her the price. And she's like, oh, I'm definitely getting one. You guys are the only place here that's selling any sort of like head things other than the place that I bought this at. I don't even own a dog. It was either this or Cat Mom, and I am not a cat mom. And we were dying. She bought 2 ear warmers.
It was so funny. I was dying laughing.
She was laughing. We were laughing. She bought our product. Like, it was a great time for all of us involved.
It was great. She's like, I'm not even a dog mom. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't even have a dog. I'm like, oh my Lord.
Yep.
That's how cold it was. It was so cold.
Yep.
But also with the ear warmers.
So we run a deal with our ear warmers. If you buy 1, it's one price. If you buy 2, it's slightly discounted for the 2 of them. We had this
group of
3 women walk up, and one of the women was just being nasty the whole time they were there. Like, she would pick something up and make like a snide comment about it and then put it down in a different spot, like on the other side of the table. Like, she'd pick up something, leave an empty spot where it was, make a snide comment about it, then walk over to the other side of the table and like set it on top of other things. And then she'd pick up something else from over there, leaving an empty space, and then walk to another table, make a snide comment about the thing that was in her hand, and put it down over there on top of other things. Like, I don't know if she was doing it on purpose, but regardless, she was being snide and rude, and her friends wanted to get ear warmers.
And she had one on her head.
Yeah, oh yeah, she picked one out, put it on her head, and was doing all this with the ear warmer on her head. And we're like, okay, like, whatever. We can deal with snide comments. We get snide comments sometimes. But her two friends, they pick out the ear warmers they want, and we tell them the price. And we told them the price when they asked the first time. Like, when they were looking at them, like, oh, how much are they? And we're like, oh, it's 1 for blah, 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 2 for blah, blah, blah. And they walk up, and they're like, okay, well, how much for 3? And I added the price for 1 ear warmer and 2 ear warmers together because they're getting a total of 3. And I said, or Sarah said, it's this price. And the woman's like, well, what's the deal for 3? And we're like,
there is no deal for 3.
There's no deal for 3. Like, we want you guys to buy them in multiples of 2. So there's a deal for 2 or a deal for 4, 6, 8. Like, it's the same price. You just, you know. And she's like, well, take the price for 2, divide it by 2, and then multiply it for 3.
I was so dumbfounded that I did it. And I shouldn't have.
Yeah. We
it
do
is
all of our
not-
prices in multiples of 5.
It is not very frequent that I am so lost for words, but this woman had me so I wanted her gone.
Yeah.
And she didn't even end up getting an ear warmer because if her friends were getting them, then all 3 of them couldn't be seen wearing them.
Yeah, so one of her friends got 2 ear warmers.
And the other friend got one, and she didn't get one at all. And she's telling me what to do. I was so aghast that I was just...
And so I wasn't a part of the conversation on price because normally when people ask, like, oh, is the price negotiable? Like, sorry, like, there's, like, not enough of a profit margin to be running deals on most of the stuff. But so I was on the other side of the booth, and I heard Sarah say a price. And in my head, I was like, that can't be the price because all of our stuff is multiples of 5 because we got tired of carrying singles and trying to count out singles every time someone would buy, like, a $6 item and then give us a $20 bill. So I'm like, oh, gotta count out 4 singles plus the 10. Like, we just made them 5 instead of 6. Like, make it 5. So everything's a multiple 5. And she said a price that ended in $2.50, and I'm like, what?
All of my prices, all the stuffies, all of everything ends in a 5 or a 0. The dollars just, it got to be too much where I'd have to have $100 in singles plus everything else. I don't want to do it that way anymore. I know some people say that people like odd numbers. Some people like it when it's 18 or 14, or it doesn't work for me, and I'm not going to run my business that way, and I'm not going to do it. So everything is either a 5 or a 0. It's either 20, 15, 45, 50. Everything ends in a 5 or a 0.
Yep. And so when I heard this, thing that ended in $2.50, I'm like, what did she sell that ended in $2.50? And the other woman paid, and they walked away, and I looked at Sarah, I'm like, did I hear you say blah, blah, blah ending in $2.50? And she's like, yeah, I cannot believe that just happened. And I'm like,
I cannot believe it just happened. I still don't believe that I did it.
Yeah.
Because I was just, she told me what to do. And I was so just dumbfounded, I just did it. Take the price of 2, divide it by 2, and then multiply it by 3. And then she just stood there and looked at me. I was like, she was so rude. I was just like,
like, we've had rude customers before, and then we've had some really rude customers before. At one event, I told a woman, I was like, you know what? I'm not selling to you. Please put my product down and walk away. And she did. And this is one of those situations where I would have said the same thing, most likely. I mean, you never really know 100% what you would have done. Had I heard it, I probably would have told this woman, you know what? I'm not selling to you. Please move along. I was on the other side of the booth, though, and Sarah normally is more willing to be confrontational with someone than I am. I'm usually the more laid-back person, and
I was
whatever.
so dumbfounded.
So the fact that she was dumbfounded, I probably would have been super upset and pissed off, and I probably would have shouted, honestly.
When it gets to me to be that point, he's normally the one who's just
like ready to go.
It was so obnoxious.
Yeah. So that was fun. Not. But you know what? They bought 3 ear warmers for the price of whatever.
It didn't matter. I was just still just so dumbfounded that like they literally told me what to do, and I don't believe I did it. Like that's what gets me. I'm like, I did it. Sarah, why did you do that? Why did you do that? You don't do that normally. And I just stood there and I did it. I was like, that makes sense. I guess. Now I have a price for 3.
Yeah. And the price for 3 is the price if you do the deal and 1 and you add it together. But we've had the full conversation. It's like,
now I know exactly what the price is. The price for 3 is the price for 3.
Yeah.
And the price for 4 is the price for 4.
Yeah.
I just, oh my God.
So that was fun. We had another interesting incident with some children. Actually, it was a couple different incidents with children.
A few incidents.
Yep. A few incidents with children.
Incidents with children.
So the first incident of this type with a child, I was the one that witnessed it.
Yeah, I didn't see this one.
Yeah. So
I didn't see either of them. You caught both of them.
Yeah, true.
I don't normally catch this stuff. This is why I take you with me, because I'd end up with everybody taking.
Which is, honestly, it's kind of funny because in the videos that you took of us at the event, it looks like I'm constantly on my phone, but I'm usually not on my phone. Like, she'll yell at me if I'm on my phone for the vast majority of the time. In the videos, if I'm on my phone, it's because, like, the event was dead at that point. It does. It drives her nuts. I know.
If you're on your phone, it looks like you're on your phone. It looks like you're not paying attention when people walk by. They're not going to stop.
Right. So at this event, I was actually really good about keeping my phone down. I don't think you had to tell me at all.
At this one, no.
I'm ADHD as heck, so if there's not something going on, I feel my phone in my pocket. I'm like, oh, let me see what's going on. Anyway, so I saw this kid grab an axolotl from one side of our L setup, and then he walked to the other side of the L setup. And the way the grid wall was, you could see through it if you were trying to see through it, but we had so much stuff on it that unless you were trying to see through, the stuff would block your vision pretty much. So I don't think he was able to see me standing there. And I saw him take the axolotl, look around, and shove it right in his hoodie pocket. And so I stepped out from behind the grid wall, and this kid's mom was like on the original side of the table that he was on. I looked at him and I was like, do you want to tell your mom or should I? And he took the axolotl out of his pocket. He walked up to his mom and he was like, Mom, I just tried to steal this and got caught. And then he put it back on the shelf, and his mom was mortified. And you know what? I understand why she was mortified. And she was apologizing profusely. I was like, ma'am, we're selling kids' toys. We kind of expect that occasionally kids are going to lapse in their better judgment. And she's like, I didn't raise him like that, and blah, blah. I'm like, ma'am,
that's not
you're okay.
You're fine.
It's like, when I was a little kid, I stole something one time too. Like, little kids don't always think about it. This kid was probably old enough, like, he knew. Like, he was old enough to know. But I wasn't going to let the mom, like,
feel bad.
Like, that's not on her. That's on her son at that point. So I was like, ma'am, you're fine. It's okay. Like, he put it back. Not a big deal. I gave him the option of him telling you or me telling you, and he owned up to it. I'm not upset.
And that's the more important part to me. And that's what I'll do with kids. I'm like, are you going to tell your mom or am I?
Right.
What are you going to do? How are we going to handle? Are you telling your mom or am I? Because I saw you.
Yeah. So another time we had a little girl walk up with her mom right behind her. And this little girl grabbed a frog?
It's a duck.
Oh, a duck. She grabbed the duck off the table and went to put it in her pocket. And her mom's like, excuse you. And she grabbed it out of the girl's hand, put it back on the table. She's like, you have to pay for these things. You can't just take them.
And she was well old enough to know.
Yeah.
She had to have been like 11. Like, this was an older girl.
But at the same time, like, she was so overwhelmed by all the plushies. She may have just been like, not there at the moment because she was so overwhelmed with everything. It was kind of funny.
Don't think so.
Regardless, like the mom caught it. We were both standing there for that one. We both like saw this girl do this, and her mom said something before we had a chance to say something.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
Yep.
I think that was it for the funny stories at this event. Our biggest takeaways from this event, make sure you're following your contract. Like, we didn't have any issues with any of the other vendors there, and I would love to see those vendors again, especially the people that were right across from us. They were so sweet. It was a guy, his wife, and his sister. They were all probably in their mid to late 50s, maybe a little older than that. I don't know. And they were super sweet. We talked with them for a while. Him and I actually have some common hobbies, so we talked about that. It was super nice. But everyone in our tent packed up early, and I really wouldn't want to see people getting blacklisted from an event like this because they were packing up early.
And when I was setting up, the vendor next to me was like, well, make sure that when we were setting up, we were pulled out a bit far just to be setting up so we had room inside to move things around. Make sure day of that's not pulled out because you don't want to get blacklisted from this event.
Yeah.
But then they pack up early. I don't...
So I don't know if this is one of those events where this coordinator or maybe it was previous coordinators had blacklisted people for breaking the contract or whatever. I have a feeling that these coordinators wouldn't have blacklisted anyone for minor contract infractions like that, considering the issue that our friend had with another vendor being set up in her spot. They let that other vendor stay. They had them sign a contract. Like there was a miscommunication there somewhere along the lines. Like, and the coordinators worked with these other vendors, which, you know, it's like they had their full booth set up when we got there.
They said they mailed their contract. It got lost in the mail with the check and blah, blah, blah.
But then as soon as the coordinator, that's the word. As soon as the coordinator gave them a contract, they immediately signed it. They gave her, I think they paid with cash for the event, like on the spot. Like they were absolutely mortified, and they checked their bank statement and they realized their check hadn't been taken out. Like they probably did actually mail the contract.
And they were lovely. They came and checked on my friend afterwards and thanked her multiple times. Like it was...
Yeah, it was two older women, and they had a lot of heavy stuff that they had set up themselves, and they said their husbands were normally with them but couldn't come this event. Regardless, the coordinators were super awesome and worked with everyone. So I don't think that they would have blacklisted anyone for minor infractions, but
you never know.
You never know, and especially you never really know if an event is going to be a good event for you until it's almost done. So you don't want to do something that's going to potentially get you blacklisted and then find out it was an amazing event for you. So those are our biggest takeaways.
And lighting. Get your lighting.
Lighting. Definitely get lighting. It's so cheap and it's so easy. When we use just our tent, the most expensive part of our lighting system is the Jackery, which we have linked. It's like $200, but we use our Jackery at every single event now, whether it's to charge our phones, charge our card reader, power the lights. Another vendor's phone died this past event, and we were able to charge her phone for her. Like, so many different things that having a mobile power source solves for you.
Yep.
It's indispensable. As soon as you can afford to get a Jackery for your business, you should absolutely get one.
But that's it. If you like this video, guys, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Those thumbs up really do help. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Let me know what else you want to see below, and we'll see you in the next one.